Chapter 4, You must let me see your sincerity. Why did Fu Huai'an ask her to leave?
His back was firmly pressed against the door, like a little kitten that was pissed off but had no choice but not to get angry. Under his thick eyebrows, Fu Huai'an's eyes narrowed slightly. His Adam's apple moved imperceptibly as he slowly tapped the ashes of his cigarette and said, "From the way Tuan Tuan calls you Mom, you are indeed more appropriate than Gu Hanyan. Miss Lin may be pretty, and I like her too, but there is no need for this position to be held by Miss Lin. If Miss Lin doesn't want to, no one will force you. You should go back to your room, rest and pretend nothing happened." Lin Nuan's ears heated up, inwardly labeling Fu Huai'an as a beast disguised as a human. He had set the record straight, angering and embarrassing her. Lin Nuan stood for a moment instead of leaving, so Fu Huai'an patted the space next to him, beckoning Lin Nuan to sit there. Lin Nuan did not move. Fu Huai'an's deep gaze focused on her, reading the emotions in her eyes that she couldn't really hide. She then remembered the purpose of coming here, and could only adjust her feelings and walk towards him. At 25 years old, as she headed into her 30s, Lin Nuan knew that she would be responsible for her own actions. Ever since she had walked out of the guest room, walked through the door, and said all those words, Lin Nuan knew she had two choices: either she kept her pride and walked away, or she gave up her dignity and stayed to plead, letting Fu Huai'an get what he wanted. Although she was a virgin, Lin Nuan knew that when a man and a woman are alone in a bedroom, and in the middle of the night, it all conjures up inappropriate images. Lin Nuan was wearing a set of men's pajamas with a collar that was too wide. His clear, thin neck, his prominent collarbones, were all completely exposed, giving a sensual impression. Her skin was too fair. Right now, her slightly pink skin and reddened eyes were enough for anyone to know her inner struggle. Fu Huai'an was exceptionally patient today. He watched Lin Nuan without any anxiety. Lin Nuan was in the grip of an inner war. In the end, her dignity was overcome by Gu Hanyan's words. She didn't want Wen Moshen to come back to find that he had nothing left. Lin Nuan clenched her fists and stood firmly by the coffee table instead of sitting next to Fu Huai'an on the couch as he requested. Lin Nuan herself was a proud and reserved lady. Going to look for Fu Huai'an was a kind of submission that went against her heart, and already defied her limits. Lin Nuan, we are both adults. Since you chose not to leave and come here instead, we both know what that means, so you should show me your sincerity instead of acting like I've wronged you. Fu Huai'an's voice was still deep and calm. Sincerity. Lin Nuan understood what Fu Huai'an meant by sincerity, and her face flared up. As if she had exhausted all the courage in her life, Lin Nuan approached Fu Huai'an and sat next to him. Between her breaths, she could only smell Fu Huai'an's masculine scent mixed with the smell of cigarettes. His presence was steady and calm, filled with a strong sense of pressure. The term cautious was definitely accurate in describing the current Lin Nuan. She lowered her eyes. Although she clearly made a move to get closer, her body maintained a distance from Fu Huai'an, striving to look natural. Fu Huai'an took the sizzling cigarette out of his mouth and held it in his hand. He placed his hand on the sofa behind Lin Nuan as his body leaned towards her. The fresh smell of the man's soap mixed with the smell of cigarettes seeped into Lin Nuan's nose. The heavy male scent made Lin Nuan nervous. Fu Huai'an was very close to Lin Nuan. His increasingly heavy breaths made Lin Nuan panic, and her heart thundered against her chest. "You didn't put your bra on." Fu Huai'an frowned, his intense gaze was burning. Her thick, deep, slightly husky voice sounded sensual and pleasant to the ear, but the content of her words turned Lin Nuan into an embarrassing mess. Lin Nuan blushed from head to toe. Yes, she didn't wear it. Because she understood Fu Huai'an's hint, she had the idea of unintentionally abandoning her own body, and no longer had the choice to withdraw. A woman wearing a man's pajamas, naked inside and sitting on her sofa, Fu Huai'an should understand the sincerity. She was so embarrassed that she couldn't face Fu Huai'an's deep gaze. When she felt his breath coming closer, she nervously clutched a corner of her shirt, her eyes reddening. Lin Nuan. Fu Huai'an's lips brushed sensually against her ears, and Lin Nuan immediately felt a chill run down her spine, her body tensing as her ears reddened.
Chapter 5, First Kiss. Why does kissing take the initiative in this situation?
Fu Huai'an softly called his name. Lin Nuan avoided Fu Huai'an's mischievous lips at his ear to look up at him. His breath was coming closer, mixed with the smell of mentholated cigarettes. Lin Nuan instinctively held his breath and turned his head away, revealing his pale neck. Their lips brushed against each other but did not kiss. Lin Nuan's eyes turned red. She was so embarrassed that she felt like crying. How had she put herself in such a position, where she could only let others do what they wanted with her? Lin Nuan, it's not my thing to force women. If you feel abused, you can go back to the guest room. Fu Huai'an had more control over his desires than Lin Nuan. As he spoke, he withdrew his hand that was still holding the cigarette behind her, regaining his image as a proper gentleman. Lin Nuan released his grip on the corner of her shirt, her heart feeling relieved and disappointed at the same time. Since she wanted to give up her body, why did she still have to feel wronged and act like the kind of woman who would choose suicide over losing her virginity? Lin Nuan felt scorned. Fu Huai'an seemed to have left the matter unresolved. Lin Nuan thought to herself that at this point, she should drop her dignity and take the initiative. She couldn't do anything else, but she had enough courage to embrace Fu Huai'an on her own. Her small hands clenched into fists, and she turned her head to the side to look Fu Huai'an in the eyes. With a brave expression, she placed her arms around Fu Huai'an's neck and gently kissed the corner of his lips. Fu Huai'an remained as still as a mountain. He was not anxious, he had always shown great patience to Lin Nuan. Lin Nuan thought that Fu Huai'an was keeping his distance from her because of the reluctance on his face. But Lin Nuan could not go any further. Lin Nuan was a conservative woman. At her age, many courted her, but she never dated anyone. In the Lin family, Lin Nuan had a fiancé, but the number of times they had had a meal together in a year could easily be counted with her fingers. Even if they stayed together, it was simply out of obligation to their families. Intimacy was something they never had. Thus, even though Lin Nuan repeated it perfectly in her heart, she was still helpless when it came to the real war that relied solely on her taking the initiative. Her stiff muscles soon began to ache. Is kissing taking the initiative? Lin Nuan asked. His sweaty fists clenched. Seeing no response from Fu Huai'an, she began to think about retreating. Since you like Wen Moshen, why do you choose to climb into my bed? Hearing these words, Lin Nuan looked up. Their gazes met. Fu Huai'an's deep eyes were calm. Nothing could be hidden from Fu Huai'an's gaze. Given her insight, when she asked him to break her engagement with Fu Hanyan, Fu Huai'an must have already known that she loved Wen Moshen. After exposing it so clearly, her feeling of having been wronged turned into embarrassment at being exposed, and she said, because I can't watch Wen Moshen's wife get engaged to you. Sacrifice yourself for love. Holding his cigarette to his mouth, Fu Huai'an crossed his long legs. Through the light smoke, he squinted his eyes. He looked at Lin Nuan's slender arms wrapped around his neck and felt slightly touched, to think that she could love someone so much. Lin Nuan didn't want to consider this dirty business as something great. She despised it from the bottom of her heart, feeling that love should not be mentioned in this matter as it only tainted the meaning. You call that a kiss? With the cigarette in his mouth, Fu Huai'an's words seemed slightly unintelligible. Lin Nuan's face flushed. She had never kissed anyone before. It was as if Fu Huai'an could read minds. He immediately understood Lin Nuan's thoughts and asked, "First kiss?" Lin Nuan's palms hurt from clenching her fists, and she straightened her neck to look at him. She stubbornly refused to admit defeat and looked like a little lady complaining about being bullied by the fake gentleman Fu Huai'an. She was the one being solicited, so she put away her thorns, but she still unintentionally poked the others. A really clean woman. Fu Huai'an let out a puff of thin smoke and carelessly put out his cigarette. He gently rubbed his cigarette-smelling thumb against the corner of Lin Nuan's lips. His Adam's apple lifted slightly, his deep voice sounding particularly sexy, and he said, "Let me teach you what kissing means." The tall, broad figure of the man leaned toward her with searing heat, his powerful scent and aura seeping into Lin Nuan's heart and making her whole body tremble.
Chapter 6, He calmly accepts. How could he not be moved by his actions?
Fu Huai'an held the back of Lin Nuan's head with one hand, his warm lips pressed together. With a gentle kiss, he slowly opened his lips and their soft tongues mingled, sharing a faint smell of mentholated cigarette. Lin Nuan's breath was taken away by the man, and her face flushed. As she felt nervous, Lin Nuan's senses had become extremely sensitive. This kind of exchange of fluids made her anxious to the point that she felt her scalp go numb. Her aggressive breathing attacked Lin Nuan, making her panic. Her mind was in turmoil and her heart was pounding violently against her chest. Fu Huai'an's kiss sent an unknown chill up Lin Nuan's stiff spine, making her feel uncomfortable and even scared. Before entering the room, she had thought that this would be a battle where she would welcome her death, but her body was like putty in Fu Huai'an's embrace. She had no way to match Fu Huai'an's experience. She was clearly surrendering before the fight even began. Fu Huai'an's partially closed eyes saw Lin Nuan's red face. His eyes were unfocused as his large hands caressed the beautiful curve of her back. He pulled her closer to him, the softness of her touch filling him with desire. She had always been the woman Fu Huai'an desired. She was helpless and pliable for him and unable to resist what he wanted to do. How could he not be moved? Lin Nuan's heart retained an ounce of consciousness as she struggled to resist, her small hands pressing against Fu Huai'an's chest. Under her palms, she felt Fu Huai'an's skin burn at a high temperature. The force behind Lin Nuan's push was weak, but Fu Huai'an noticed her rejection and let go of her lips, breathing heavily. "Do you regret it?" asked Fu Huai'an. 2 words and Lin Nuan unconsciously grabbed onto the cloth covering Fu Huai'an's chest. Fu Huai'an's attitude was clear, he did not force women. As for the lust, Lin Nuan was tasting it for the first time, but Fu Huai'an still seemed lucid enough to withdraw at any time, as if nothing had happened. She was afraid it would happen, and afraid it wouldn't. Lin Nuan had put herself in a bind. Her eyes reddened and she lowered her head in silence. Did Fu Huai'an's actions mean that he agreed that she should replace Gu Hanyan? Or Lin Nuan had offered herself to him and he was calmly accepting it? Lin Nuan wanted to ask, but her sense of shame wouldn't let her. "Don't be nervous." Fu Huai'an comforted her and coaxed her patiently, his heavy breath sweeping over Lin Nuan's lips. Her sexy, husky voice comforted Lin Nuan, who felt uncomfortable and conflicted. The sound of Fu Huai'an's soft voice right next to her ears inflamed her, and she clung tightly to his shirt to prevent her body from collapsing under him. Lin Nuan had a dream. In this dream, Wen Moshen came back. Just outside the door of the Lin family's house, he was wearing the suit he had on the day he left, his face smiling in that way that Lin Nuan knew best. He was thanking Lin Nuan. He was thanking Lin Nuan for helping him defend the woman he loved. The wind was strong, blowing so hard that Lin Nuan couldn't even hide her tears. She smiled, but her heart hurt as if someone had cut a big piece of it, and it became cold. She stood and glared at Wen Moshen, seeing him go after the woman he loved deeply with a blissful look on his face. The sound of a shower reached her ears, and Lin Nuan slowly woke up. Unknown room, unknown bed. The unknown pillow was soaked with Lin Nuan's tears. Fu Huai'an was showering in the bathroom. Lin Nuan sat up. Looking at the mess of clothes on the floor, she didn't know how she ended up with Fu Huai'an last night. Maybe it was her experienced ways that made Lin Nuan unable to resist, or maybe it was Lin Nuan's stubbornness in loving Wen Moshen that gave her incredible courage. Lin Nuan shakily got up from the bed, picked up the pajamas that didn't belong to her and wrapped herself tightly. At first, she wanted to take advantage of Fu Huai'an's time in the shower to escape from the scene, but she remembered that she hadn't gotten any confirmation as to whether he was going to give up his engagement to Fu Huai'an. Lin Nuan chose not to leave after some hesitation. Since this had already happened, why would she be afraid to face it? When Fu Huai'an came out of the shower, Lin Nuan had already tidied up the bed. Seeing Fu Huai'an with his towel hanging around his neck, she wanted to open her mouth but found it hard to speak. She heard the sound of a lighter, then Fu Huai'an asked, "Did Fu Huai'an look for you?"